Breaking news, very exciting. This just happened a few hours ago. World Adventist leader says no to abortion. President of the Adventist World Church, Pastor Ted Wilson, yesterday stoutly defended the sanctity of human life. Adventists believe in the sanctity of life. We believe that God created human beings on the sixth day of a literal 7-day week and rested on the seventh day. This is true. This is in our fundamental beliefs. So this right here is correct. Pastor Wilson stated during a press conference shortly after his arrival in Jamaica for an official visit, whenever Adventists, especially church leaders, talk about abortion, you have to pay very close attention to their words, noting that it is a personal issue, whatever that means. He then argued that in cases where mothers' lives are at risk, some may go the abortion route. Hold it right there. Go back and watch my videos. I have on numerous occasions stated that when Adventist leaders talk about abortion, they will always emphasize the mother's life exception. The Adventist Church supports deliberate intentional abortion for 5 circumstances, and church leaders will always ignore the other 4 and focus only on the mother's life. They do this because the mother's health exception right here is the same loophole used in Roe versus Wade to support abortion on demand, and it's the exact same loophole in the official church position, which you can see right here. Church leaders never ever talk about the mother's health exception. They always focus on the mother's life, and again, this here proves the point. But the SDA are strong supporters of the sanctity of life. Most Adventists would be very supportive of the sanctity of life and not in favor of abortion unless the mother's life was in danger, or perhaps there was incest or rape involved, and that is left to the individual to decide, at least in some countries. Now, did you see that? Look very closely. He did not say the church. He said the SDA and most Adventists, because he knows very well that most Adventists around the world, especially outside of North America, do not support abortion. He is specifically focusing on the people. He's focusing on the people because the official church position right here does in fact support abortion. Why he did not make that clear, I don't know. He mentions rape and incest. I've already made videos on the question of rape, so I'm not going to address that question here. See my video to learn more. Again, he cites mother's life, rape, and incest. He cites the most emotionally charged cases and completely avoids the mother's health exception. And now this astounding statement right here. We do urge that lawmakers give strong adherence and cognizance to the sanctity of life. That's a big statement right there, and it's also a very big problem. If the government has the God-given legitimate role of protecting its citizens, protecting children from being killed, and it does, then why have so many Adventist church leaders opposed this legislation? As just one example, lawyers from the headquarters of the Adventist Church at the GC argued to the Supreme Court of the United States to oppose legislation to protect children from being violently killed. So he says that governments should protect children, but his church opposes this. Very, very confusing. Overall, I'm very excited to see this because church leaders are being forced to talk about this. This just happened a few hours ago. This was published in Jamaica News, so it will be very interesting to see if anyone in the Adventist media covers this. Will they just ignore it? Will they be honest and fair, or will they put some spin on it? I don't know. We'll see. The bottom line is that according to what was published in this article, Ted Wilson did not make any really different or definitive statements. Just like other church leaders, he tries to, quote, affirm the sanctity of life, claim that Adventists are against abortion, while at the same time avoiding drawing any attention to the history of the church supporting abortion on demand. And there are no excuses. It is a documented historical fact that the current pro-abortion position was voted and approved in October 1992 by the Executive Committee, and Ted Wilson was on that committee. Ministry Magazine reports here that over 90% of church leaders voted yes in favor of the pro-abortion position. Liberty Magazine reports right here that only 5 leaders voted no, and Ted Wilson was not one of them. Ted Wilson voted in favor of the pro-abortion position, and in an email from the assistant to the president, Magdiel Perez Schultz, stated right here in black and white that Ted Wilson is in full support of the official pro-abortion position of the church, and he is a strong advocate of it. Someone has some explaining to do. This is really good because Adventist church leaders are being forced to address the issue. The pressure is growing, and if I could pour gasoline all over these sparks, I would absolutely do so. Would you please join me in prayer that God will give Elder Wilson the courage to lead our church to repent of this terrible sin and take a consistent, faithful stand for the sanctity of life?